готувались 3,5 місяці. Там за дорогою 35 мінімум цих небритих кадирівців.
Разреши ебашить навес.
Можна навес. Можна цих які прийшли на цю землю до нас. Що вони там хотіли? Більше не повинно бути Буш, Ірпеня, Гостомеля. Ми їх будемо брити.
My call sign is Scythe. My name is Eugene. Now I'm the company commander of the assault battalion. We defended the Brovary direction at first. This is Kiev region. Then we went to liberate Irpin, Bucha, Gostomel. There were heavy battles with the Russian landing force from Pskov, then with the Buryats in Gostomel. After a 7-day unit coordination training at the training ground, we went to Severodonetsk. There, the heat was many times more intense. We were constantly bombarded by artillery and aircraft, and tanks fired at us. Contact fights could last for hours. During the battles in Severodonetsk, I was an infantryman. The enemy constantly wanted to break through. Our unit, along with others, held back the onslaught. The most brutal battles were in the city itself, near high-rise buildings, on the outskirts of Severodonetsk. There were many enemy forces. The great difficulty was that a certain number of inhabitants still remained inside the city. Some units of the enemy deliberately, knowing this, changed into civilian clothes in order to confuse us, get closer, get into the city, and conduct reconnaissance. Such subversive intelligence groups were successfully caught by us. It's just a different type of action when you have to work personally and constantly monitor the perimeters. They also use different methods to capture certain buildings. They entered from different flanks. Sometimes they held a certain high-rise building for a long time, in which of the first floor they installed stretchers, whereas traps with mines. When we passed all the traps, then grenades flew from the second floor to the stairs. But if we went to the second floor, the entire second and third floors were filled with a large number of Kadyrovets, Russian infantrymen. We were in the minority, so we did not attack, but waited for their assaults. If there were 12 of us, there were more than 30 of them, and their attacks were not unexpected, because even during the offensive, they occasionally shouted Allah Akbar and shot somewhere in the air. I watched this fight from the air, thanks to a drone. I saw this picture when our fighters started shooting RPGs and our shaman fired 2 boxes of grenade launcher shots. They just started running away from the forest. Their goal was to frighten us and make us flee. When the Kadyrians understood that it was not possible to suppress us morally, to frighten us, they did not enter into direct battle, but run away. In that particular battle, 3-4 Kadyrov soldiers died due to unaimed firing. After that, they walked and stood at a distance from the line of fire, behind the positions of the main intelligence agency of Russia. The artillery shelling did not stop and continued 24/7 from all directions. Therefore, the difficulty was that, simultaneously with participation in battles, one should always look for shelter, never be in an open area that was shot at. I remember the 3-hour battle with the GRU unit the most. They were just very self-absorbed. They thought that they could simply attack us and take our positions. The battle lasted for 3 hours. We had already fired almost all the ammunition at them, and they did not retreat, did not stop moving, despite those who were falling. Our only cover then was an 82mm mortar, and our infantrymen worked with machine guns and RPG. Both 82mm and 120mm mortars worked against us, and at the end, even an enemy tank had already arrived. As a result of this battle, the Russian Federation irretrievably lost 18 soldiers and many more of them wounded. Then we learned from intercepts that 2 colonels of the Russian war intelligence were among the dead. We only knew their call signs. One of them was seriously wounded and later died. When the tank came at us, it was really extremely dangerous. It hit the 2nd floor from where I was controlling the drone. After that, the floor fell, and I was on the 1st floor. But I was lucky. I rolled over, fog in my eyes, contusion. But after that, the tank went back. During the fighting in the city, morale was difficult. The city is big, there are many situations with wounded people, and it was difficult to get out of positions with a wounded comrade. Many obstacles had to be overcome in order to save wounded combat comrade. As long as the bridge was still intact, we used the crossings. But the bridge was shelled constantly, it became more destroyed every day. At that time, it was already difficult to drive on it, because there were many holes. The driver had to be both brave and skillful for such tests. We already had to leave the city with a fight. As it turned out, Severodonetsk was already practically surrounded. All bridges were destroyed. All river crossings were controlled by the enemy. Transporting equipment and ammunition to the city was simply impossible. On the contrary, the Russians brought a lot of troops and equipment there. I was not in Rubizhne, but according to the stories of my combat comrades, there were more contact battles in the city itself. In Severodonetsk, almost all actions took place on the outskirts of the city. It was a forest, an industrial zone, and high-rise buildings. So it is difficult to compare where it was more difficult. But we took it very hard because we were losing our best fighters. When we were leaving, enemy artillery was working on us. A shrapnel hit my helmet. The helmet was pierced. 2 small projectile fragments stuck in my head shallowly. Therefore, the helmet saved me. But we got out. Finn and Tichy, who were still alive at the time, said that we still needed to go on a mission to cover the exit of another unit of the armed forces of Ukraine. What motivates me? Children, family. I'm motivated by the fact that this is our country, for which we must fight, which must be won back. There is such a phrase, who if not us? If we run out, there will be other people who will fight for it. Because this fight is not for someone else, not for oligarchs, not for deputies, not for judges, but for yourself and for your family. I got contusions, had shrapnel in my leg and in my head, but I don't think that will stop me or my brothers. We must return everything that is ours, and those who invaded our homes with weapons and violated lives and rights must pay with their lives or go to prison. I don't have anything else to offer them.